Okay, your program number 4 is a continuation of 3 in which we're really focusing on that maximal strength. Your sets will be low rep counts, kind of alternating between sets of 4 to 6 or sets of 2 to 4. They're big lifts. In many cases, they're progressions from previous programs. We start out here with a dumbbell chest press. You've done several different types of presses, single arm, alternating, incline, low incline. Now we go to a traditional flat one. Just be conscious of shoulder positioning and variables. Flat, heels on the ground, chest up, shoulders back. I want you to think in terms of neutral position here, drive it up, and then think actively pull the dumbbells down, drive up, control, pull them down, drive up. But the pulling down, what that does is it turns on your lats, which provides a better stability base for your shoulder. After the chest press, you move on to single leg squat. This one is definitely more progressive than previous single leg movements. This is going to be an elevated position. If some guys are still not prepared to handle this elevated position, they can still do the single leg box squat where they touch the butt down and come back up. But for this one, elevate. And we're trying to get depth of the hip, tapping this left heel, and driving back up. Hold posture, keeping the weight on the back of the foot, pushing back up. The usual flaw, which you'll get with a lot of guys when they first try it, if you watch their foot, they'll rock forward on the front of the foot with the heel coming up. It means way too much knee flexion, not enough hips. The heel's got to stay down. They got to trust their ability to push their hip back while maintaining your posture. The hands in front, that's simply just a counterbalance. You don't have to do it that way, but for me, when I do that, it counterbalances my weight. It helps me hold posture better. Next, to move on to the supine row. If you have a TRX band or rings, I've got it set up here. You can use that. If you don't, I'll show you how to use it with a bar. But if you do have rings, here, and down slow. And down slow. Notice the shoulder mechanics right there. You want to think up in a 1 count, down in a 2 count to make that harder. Raise the feet up, make sure the hips are always tall. It's a straight line through the body, so you're holding a good bridge. The hips drag. Don't progress them, or at least cue them to get the hips up. You can also add weight to that if you have a vest. If you set a plate on their chest, make sure it doesn't fall back into the face, but you can add weight to that or difficulty to that. If you don't have the rings, you simply use a bar. We'd go underhand grip on the bar. Be just like that. So underhand grip, no wider than shoulder width for that same type of movement. Next movement, the bar deadlift. So in the last program you did a hex deadlift. So here's the progression from the hex. Same movement pattern, but more difficulty here because you're fighting a bar instead of that comfortable hex bar. There's a lot less margin for error with the straight bar than there is with the hex bar. There's a lot of more cues involved too. So remember, you'll do this with your shoes off to keep your weight back. The first thing you want to do with the straight bar, checkpoint number 1, is you want to crowd the bar. So your shins should be up against the bar. From here now, shoulders are back. I got my split grip ready. Instead of, we're not going to go double overhand, we're going to go 1 under, 1 over. Yeah, I do 1 set here, maybe a 2nd set here. I'm going to push my hips back until I feel the stretch of my hamstrings. Remember, this is a hip dominant pulling pattern, unlike the squat, which is a knee dominant pushing pattern. So remember, back's flat, shoulders back, push your hips back. You should feel like stretching the hamstrings. From here, by the same checkpoints as the hex bar, pack my chin, grip the bar tight, take a little slack out of it. That gets your lats turned on, brace the core, and pull through the hips. Hips back, hips down. Pull through the hips back, and hips down. The key there is you watch that technique. If the hips stop moving and the shoulders keep dropping, you're going to have back problems. And it's not going to be a good movement for you. As long as the hips are going back the The hips are going to go back when the bar reaches the shins, and it's kind of a down movement, and you pull through. Hips back, hips down, pull through. You do not want to get this here and you're just finishing there. If that's the case, you're going to have a lot of issues. So as long as the shoulders are dropping, the hips have got to be moving as well. If that's the case, you're in good shape. The other thing is this: if you see a rounded back, you got to get them to grip tighter, stronger here, or maybe they're just not strong enough in the upper back and it's a limiting factor with their load weight. But if you see any rounded backs, or if you see any that get here and they don't keep moving their hips, you've got to drop weight. They're going to be injured. But if they can execute this cleanly, they'll do a lot of weight here, and it'll be very productive for them because it trains the entire back side of the body, all the way from the calves up to the scapular stabilizers up top. So be very, very scrutinizing on their technique for that one. The next one is a plate corkscrew. This one we're going to simulate in a fashion that we're going to get some hip and turn rotation out of as well. So the corkscrew, I'm going to load here and I'm going to turn hard off this hip right here. So here's my load. I'm going to drive off the left leg here. Notice I'm getting internal rotation here. I'm going to back down, load. So I'd fix my foot if I was going this way. Fix this left foot here. Load and drive. So I'm getting rotational power that's coming through the hips. I'm stabilizing here. All rotations coming through the hips, and of course I'm going to finish a little bit with thoracic rotation. So for your rep count, say it's a set of 6 turning left to right, 6 turning right to left. Next, the bar front squat. Same fundamentals. You can use a bench for this. I'm going to use a boxer here. You can use same fundamentals you'd use on a typical squat. We're going to front load. You can do cross face. You could do the traditional clean grip like that. Make sure my weight stays on my heels, hips back. Shoot the hips through. Just touch the box. Don't sit on the box though. The key there, like the single leg squat, is making sure the heels don't come up. Making sure the movement is the hips get back and tapping and shooting through and not being shifting forward. That's an adjustment that has to take place if it's a problem. Next, the power band single arm row. This thin band's the best band for this because you get the most stretch on it. I'm going to set my shoulder blade back, take a stance here, hold through the elbow, and let it back. Remember, don't let the shoulder roll forward, stay back here, hold through the elbow, back. And of course, I perform it on the other side as well. Step back further to get more resistance on that. We're going to go out here. Let's just cut.